Hello friends, in this crash course, we will explore how we can gently guide our students from something that they already know to a very abstract, to some unknown concepts. And the best tool to help to ease our students is using visual metaphors. And one of my favorite tools to implement them is a tool called Canva. Okay, so I've kept the format of the crash course really simple. First of all, some questions that might be popping in your mind. Do you need to be an artist? Or, a thought can be, I can't draw at all. So the answer is that you don't need to be an artist in order to, create this content, create this material that communicates visually. Okay. Canva will do all of these for you, and I'll teach you step by step how to do it. You don't need to have any experience with Canva. You just need a free Canva account, nothing else. Okay, we'll explore everything in this short crash course. So let me show you before we begin some of the examples of how I use the power of visual metaphors to teach really abstract concepts. Okay, so the first is different kinds of testings. Okay, so how do you teach, how do you explain to your students what are unit testing versus integration testing versus end-to-end testing? Think for a moment. Maybe you have really creative ways of doing that. Here's how I do it using visual metaphors. So I use the analogy of bicycle. Okay, so suppose we are a bicycle manufacturing company. Individual units, each smallest part, individual unit of bicycle should work as expected. For example, a ring chain, right? A chain, a ring, they should be like working individually. A chain should be a working chain, right? So it's very important and essential to make sure that the individual units of bicycle are working as expected. So that's called unit testing. Okay, we are testing individual unit that they do not have any defect and they are working as expected. Second is, maybe a chain is working as expected. A chain ring is working as expected, but they don't fit into each other. Is that of any use? Maybe paddles are working, but they do not fit into the ring. That does not work, right? So a group of unit should integrate with each other properly. A chain should fit into a ring. So that's integration testing. That different units are working together in the way they are expected to be. And end-to-end testing is bicycle as a whole. Is that usable? Is that working as it should be? And that's end-to-end testing. So you see, just in 2 minutes, using the analogy of a bicycle, using a visual metaphor, how easy it was to teach this abstract concept to our students, right? Since the thing that differentiates Masai School from rest of the edtech companies is its pedagogy, right? The way we teach. And I sincerely hope that today's session will help us add more value, add to the success and growth of Masai School as instructors, as content creators. Okay. Next abstract concept is reduce. I have been training, people. I have been helping, engineers grow in their ladder. And I can assure you, I can tell it to you that, people with 4 to 5 years of JavaScript experience, they do not understand ES6, they do not understand React.array.reduce, they are scared of that because they don't have the mental model of how it works. Let's see how I teach this concept using visual metaphors. I'm just showing you these examples because we will be recreating these from scratch. Okay, so it will make much more sense when we are creating these individual units as the why we are creating that. This information is required. So imagine that you have an empty glass, okay, and you have a couple of ingredients. You have some water, you have some lemons, and you have some oranges. And the end result that you are looking for is orange lemon juice. Okay. Now, I'm not explaining in the entire way I explain in a class. In short, I am trying to explain how I use visual metaphors and how you can include it in your teaching. So one of the ways to accomplish this task is from moving from an initial empty glass to an end result with the ingredients that we have is we put some water in the empty glass and we have a glass of water. Step 1. When we move to the second item, which is a lemon, to the end result of the first step, to the glass of water, we put some lemon and we have a glass of lemon juice. To the glass of lemon juice, we put in some oranges and we have a glass of orange plus lemon juice. As simple as that. If you know JavaScript, if you know array.reduce, you can see that we have given them a very good mental model using this really simple example. So this is also one of the examples that we will be building in today's class from scratch. Okay, and doing that we will learn lots of Canva techniques. Third thing, recursion. So I have read that, more than 100 times that it's very, very hard to map recursion to real life examples. I will show you how I teach one of these most abstract concepts using visual analogies. And then we will try to recreate them step by step. Okay, so these are 3 full examples that we will be recreating in today's short crash course. Second thing, some essential concepts I'll teach you. Canva is getting huge, and most of the things in Canva that are not useful to us as a content creator, as an instructor. So just the things that are absolutely essential for us in order to create these, I'll be teaching you all the concepts. So you don't have to, spend much time in, trying to filter out the things that you really don't need from a 10 hours course, right? So I'll teach you everything. We will explore everything that's important for us as an instructor. Then we will create, after learning the essentials, we will create those examples together. And then, I'll keep giving you some assignments just to encourage you and just have fun with Canva. Okay. So first assignment for you, in case you do not have a Canva account, so you may pause the video and please create a free Canva account. You may use Google account to log in. So make sure that you have a Canva account. Okay. So just go to canva.com and please create a free account. Okay, it should be simple and intuitive for you. So once your Canva account is ready, click on create a design and simply select presentation. Create a design, select presentation. So when you will start a new Canva design with a particular size, okay, you will see lots of templates in the left side. 90% of people or 95% of people who use Canva, they try to search for a template and then try to make modifications to it, which is fine for most of the use cases. But for us as content creators, the much better approach is to use the blank canvas and try to make things from scratch. It will give us a lot more power and flexibility. After mastering this, then we will look into layouts, how layouts can help us, do some of our regular tasks a bit quickly. Okay, so we will do everything from scratch. And your best friend would be in the left tab, you see these elements. So just go to elements, and this elements tab, this elements section is going to be your best friend as a content creator, as an instructional material creator. Okay. So first of all, in elements, search for, this search facility is, this search utility is really powerful. Let's take any graphic. Okay, let's take this graphic for example. I'll just click and drag it. Okay, so I have this graphic. So whenever you have a graphic, any graphic, and you see these color options here, that means this graphic is editable. This is the first concept I want to, teach you. So for example, wherever we have these yellow colors, right? Gold color. You can select this color and you can change it to any color. Let's make it dark blue. And see, all the yellow colors inside this editable graphic turned into the color that we specified. Now let's select this raspberry red kind of a color. And let's click plus to add a new color, and let's select any of the colors, or let's use the dropper tool and let's select this particular color for this. Okay, or we can also insert a color code here if required. So this is the second one, and let's finally take any of other color and try to change it. So this is, going to be one of your most powerful tool while creating visual materials. Inside the elements tab, graphics. Okay. Now you can also do a couple of things here with these graphics. For example, you can flip them, okay, either horizontally or vertically. You can, position them. We will look into that, and a couple of more things that we can do here. Okay. Let me teach you two more things. Okay. So for example, if I have, so I'm just trying to duplicate it. Okay. So I will just duplicate it, copy paste it. For example, I can decrease the opacity of one over another. So what I can do is I can click here in the transparency, and I can decrease the opacity. You see, the opacity of the graphic that was above, that is reduced now. Second thing, you can send it back. So there are two ways to send it back. One is you can right click and send backward, or send to back. Okay. Send to back sends it to absolute back. Send backward is sends it one step back. Or you can use this position and send it backwards. So now you can see that the transparent one is back and the completely opaque one is in the front. Okay. So what we learned is any graphic, okay, any graphic in which you see this kind of a color palette, they are editable graphics. You can change the colors, one thing. Second, you can flip the image graphic either horizontally, vertically. You can adjust the opacity, and you can change the position. You can send them backward or front. So as an exercise, what you can do is just search for one editable graphic inside the elements tab and try to do these changes all by yourself. So this can be an interesting and simple exercise for you. Next thing in the list is connecting shapes with lines. So, you see these lines and shapes here, right? One way is you can see all of them from here. Or you can simply search for a rectangle. Just search for a rectangle here, and you have a rectangle here. So I can just click and drag a rectangle here. I'll also search and click and drag a circle here. Okay, so I'll search for a circle, and I'll simply, there I see a lot of circle here, I'll simply click and drag circles here. So wherever you see these dots and so basically here the easiest way to identify if it's a shape is you see this shape here. Okay, you see this shape here. If it's not a shape, if it's an image, for example, let me take this, then you don't see this shape thing here. Okay, so I'll just get rid of it. So these are our two shapes, and now we need a line. Okay, so I'll search for lines, and I need a line shape here. Okay, again you can see that it's a line shape because we have all these options and two dots here. Now what we'll do is we will click on one of the dots and hover over the shape, and you will immediately see 5 white dots, and you can connect it with any of these. So I have connected this line shape with this rectangle shape. Rectangle with all sides equal. Okay, same thing we will do with the circle. Okay, and now a connection is established between them, and we can move these around, and this connection will be kept. This is such a beautiful feature, but very few people know to use it, right? Such simple, intuitive. It's very important for we as instructional material creators, right? So now you can change this line. You can add thickness, so you can make the line thicker. You can use different shapes. I like to use this dashed one. Okay, then you can change the start and end shape, so I can make them arrows if required. Okay, or the something like this if it's one directional. Got it? So this is how we can connect two shapes. The beauty of this tool is this feature is that it works with known shapes as well. It works with general graphics as well. So if I select a known shape graphic, a simple image for example, and then I have for example a line, okay, and I select this line, I click on the dot, then I have the same option with graphics as well. I can connect with the graphics even. Okay, so this is a beautiful feature. Another super cool feature of Canva, which very few trainers are aware of, is the draw app. So if I go down, I click more, then I have this draw app, right? Just click on that. Just click on draw beta and click on use. Okay, and now you will see that you have this draw icon in the sidebar. Okay, and as soon as you click on the draw, this icon in the left bar, so your draw tool is activated. So one of the most useful one is this pen. So in case you have some some sort of you want to make some sort of connections, or whatever, you want to write something, maybe whatever. So you can use this pen tool for any of these things. You can make, you're free to use it the way you use, right? And another one is this highlighter, which I tend to use a lot. So whenever I need to highlight something, so this is one of the ways to highlight them. So this is another thing that I just wanted to bring to your attention, that if you're used to using a tablet and all of those things, then you'll find this pen tool very useful. And this is, somehow not obvious that you have this, right? So this is another very, very useful tool. Another shape that I tend to use a lot, again inside elements, is just search for brush strokes. Okay, brush strokes. Okay, if you search it, you will get lots of exciting graphics. Okay, and I tend to use them a lot for highlighting things, and it looks really nice. Okay, so for example, I can take this and I can use this to highlight something, and I can rotate it, I can put it here, and I can send it to back. So I can send it backward. Okay, and that way it's it gives a really nice look and feel to our app, to our design. And of course you can change the color. So this is the search for brush strokes in the elements, and you'll get lots of cool graphics, and most of them are free. You can see that the one with this king crown, these are pro, rest all are free. So this is something just I wanted to tell you, because I tend to use these a lot. Another thing is blobs. These are also very trending. So blobs. So these kind of blobs are very trendy, and most of them are free, as you can see. So you can use blobs in your design as much as you need, and they are customizable. You can customize their color, and there are lots of recommendations there. You can see that. So you're already realizing how powerful Canvas is, and how powerful and useful the Elements tab is for us, right? Let me teach you a couple of more concepts. So for example, I'll select a shape again called rectangle. Okay, just let's say it's rectangle. I'll select it. So once I select the rectangle tool, okay, I'll just make it a bit larger for you. You can see that it's a shape. We can clearly see it's a shape. Now what we can do is we can definitely change the color. We can change to whatever color we need it. Next is we can give it a border. I can make the border thicker. I can make the rounded corners. And you can see that it's looking so much more better. I tend to use shapes along with border colors which is slightly darker than that. So what I tend to do is I select any of these, and I tend to select a border which is a bit darker. It gives a really nice look, nice and simple look. Okay, so this is one thing that when you select a shape, you can give it a border, you can change the border color, and you can also change the fill color. Okay, another thing that I want to teach you is just double click on any shape and you can start typing text, right? So for example, objects, and you can easily select this, select the text, and increase the fonts and make whatever changes that you need. Okay, I'll just make it 50. And this way you can make things like different containers with different text, and you have all the formatting tools here. We'll look into it, and you may explore it, right? So these were a couple of contexts. Again, these are very simple, very common sense, but still, I want to I want all of us to be on the same page, right, when we will be creating these graphics. So Elements is your best friend. You can connect shapes and lines. Use Draw app if you are comfortable with if you have a tablet and you are comfortable with that. Highlight using brush strokes, border, corner, and rounding of shapes, and you can insert text into shapes. So these are some of the things that we have explored so far, and please feel free to pause the video and practice all of these, or you may continue with me. Then how to copy and paste styles. So this is another thing which is, in my opinion, very important. So for example, we have a sort of connected object and we use a particular color. Okay, so we have this thing. And also we have, let me duplicate it because I want to show you something related to it. And I'll change it back. I'll just delete it. Okay. And now I'll apply some of the styles to it. For example, let me pause and apply the style because we'll be doing the exact same thing that we did in the last section. Okay. So now I have a nice shape here which are connected. I'll try to connect these as well. So I'll maybe search for a line. You will find yourself using lines and rectangles and circles a lot, and I'll show you shortcut on how to use them. I'll place the line here. I'll try to make a connection between these two objects, but you can see that these are so drastically different. So we have a way to copy and paste styles. So you can copy and paste styles of everything together as well. So you can do this, or let me teach you object by object. So I'll just click on this object, click on 3 dots, copy the styles using this copy style icon, and wherever I click, it will be pasted. Again, I'll copy and I'll paste. I'll copy the style and I'll paste it. So this is a very useful feature where you can simply copy the style and paste it. Okay, so this is a very, very important and useful feature. Shortcuts for circle, rectangles and lines, like we tend to use these a lot. So we have shortcuts to it. So for example, you are in your canvas and just press C and you have a circle. Just press R and you have a rectangle. So do you see why I was using the word rectangle all the time? Just use L and you have your line. So these commonly used elements, so we have shortcuts for them and very intuitive. C, R and L. Okay. Frames. Now for example, we can search for lots of photos here. So we have a huge library of free photos, right? So let me just use any of them. So let me use this one. Let me create a new presentation slide and let me just bring in this particular image. Okay. Now I want to use a frame and fit this image into that frame. So for that, inside elements again, which is our best friend, look for frames or image frames. Okay. Select any of them. Let's say circle. Okay. And now just drag this image into the frame. And you see that you have your image inside the frame. Double click it, reposition it as required. And again click outside and you have a nice frame. Your image is inside a frame. Okay. This is a concept I tend to use a lot. So I just wanted to teach you. Apply style only. Now, one utility of template that you want to use some fonts or something like that in your presentation. Not everything, but just fonts and everything. So you can always do this. You can apply styles only. So just select any of the templates, click on the 3 dots, scroll down and click apply styles only. And you can see that just the style and theme and font of that particular slide will be copied for you. If I go somewhere else, like this one, for example, this one, I'll click on 3 dots. I'll apply style only and we'll see that, everything is same, just the style got applied, including fonts and color combinations and everything. Okay. So this is one nice little feature that I want you to be aware of. Again, these layouts. So besides templates, you have layouts. So I'm in the templates tab and now I'm in the layouts tab. Okay, so these layouts are at times quite handy. I'll show you. So for example, you just want to put in a couple of points. If you have seen my presentations, it contains a lot of, agenda 1, 2, 3 points with these large bullet points. Okay, or they contain these kind of a structure. So I tend to use layouts a bit. Okay, so I want to emphasize on a couple of points. I can use this here. So there are these layouts which, in my opinion, are quite useful. Okay, quite handy at times. So this is one thing I wanted to include. Now just go to photos and select for some images. I like to work with images with transparent backgrounds. So I selected this. Okay. And now let's see a couple of things that we can do with this. So 2, 3 things, frames, shadows, like that. So we click edit image. And then if you scroll down a little bit, so you have these shadow effects. So you can apply any of these shadow effects. So it takes a little bit of time and you will see that you will get a nice shadow effect. So once the shadow gets applied, you can click on this gear icon and you can, change a couple of things like increase the blur, reduce the transparency, and you can do all of these things here. So this can be at times handy for you. Another thing that you may like is frames. So click on frames. You can use frames. And once you use frames, then you have lots of frames to work with. Just click back and you have all these frames. For example, you can put it inside a laptop, right? So this is now inside a laptop. You can put it inside an iPhone, right? So these can be at times handy for you. And just like, the normal frames, you can click and readjust the photo as you need to. So this is another handy little feature. Inside elements, you can search for stick figures. Stick figures. And you will get lots and lots of nice stick figures. And you can obviously use them to make your design much more, playful and much more attractive, right? So these stick figures gives a lot of, life to your presentations. Another thing that is very common is, let me select this dog image, okay? I'm just selecting this dog image. And now what we'll do is, we will go to edit image, shadow and glow. So what I'll do is, you'll find this very, very common, especially in YouTube thumbnails. So click on edit image. Go to glow. So you can see glow here. Click glow. And once the glow gets applied, click on this gear icon, this settings icon. And then we can increase the size of the glow a little bit. Okay. And we can reduce the transparency of the glow. We can reduce the blur. Okay. We will increase the size a little bit more. Okay. And then we will change the color to something like, for example, brown. Okay. So size increased, transparency reduced to 0, and blur significantly reduced. And you have this, nice kind of a, thing that separates it maybe from the background. So most of the times in the YouTube thumbnails, you will see that there's a dark background and they use this effect, the glow effect, to separate the background from the main character from the background, right? So this is another handy tool. So let's see if we have covered everything. We have covered stick figures. We have not covered copy paste codes, and we have covered all rest of the things. So let's see about copy pasting code. So there are three ways that you can, use a source code inside of Canvas. One is simply copy the code. Just copy it. Go to Canva. I'll go to a new page just to make things cleaner. Click text, add a text box, and I'll paste it here. So I'll just paste my code here, and you can immediately see that all the formatting is gone, right? Now next thing that we can do is we can go to the fonts here and just search for a mono font, any mono fonts. You can go mono spaced anywhere, and I'll select any one of these, for example Roboto mono regular, and I will change all. And now I need to do a little bit of formatting. I'll make them left aligned, and I need to adjust a little bit of their indentation. So I need to manage a little bit of their indentation. And once you have adjusted the formatting, you can use all the power of Canva. For example, I can search for a brush stroke. Okay, I can search for a brush stroke, and suppose I want to highlight a certain part, so I can highlight that maybe. Okay, and I can always resize them, so I'll resize them a little bit. I'll resize that, and I'll send it to back. So send to back, and of course I need to make it a bit maybe darker or lighter, whatever. Okay, so I can do whatever I need, right? I can search for arrows. Whatever we have learned so far, we can do it this way. This is one of the three ways that I know, I am aware of. Okay, so let's go to the another way. Another is simple using a screenshot tool. So basically, at times for quick and easy thing, I just highlight something that I need to highlight, and I simply use any of the screenshot tools, and I take the screenshot, and we can paste it. Okay, so this is, I simply pressed Ctrl C, Ctrl V, okay, to copy paste it. This is the second way. The third way is using one of the extensions, one of the Visual Studio Code extensions, and it's called Pola Code. Okay, so once you install POLACODE Pola Code, and when you kind of trigger Pola Code, then you will get whatever you can. So yeah, there is a procedure for this. I'll just make this a bit smaller so that everything fits in. So I'll press Command minus a couple of times to make sure that we have enough space. Then I'll copy the code that I need to. I'll simply copy it. Okay, and then I'll execute Pola Code. And here inside Pola Code, I'll simply paste it, what we copied. So we pasted it. Again, you can make whatever adjustments you need to. So for example, this is something that we need here. Okay, and when I'll click here, it will be saved as an image with everything, this background, etc. To be honest, I always use screenshot tool, or I copy paste it, and then I can use the power of Canva to make it work the way I need. Alright, so these were the essentials of Canva. You just need to know these many tools, in my opinion. And please do let me know in case there are more wonderful tools that we can use as designers, as instructional designers. So one thing you can do is, you just, spend some time trying to practice and get comfortable with all of these. Okay. And in the next part of the video, we will recreate the 3 examples that I showed you. Okay. And I will also show you, maybe let me show you in today itself that how I teach recursion using visual tools, and maybe in the next part of this crash course we will explore how to create that. So let me try to show how I teach recursion. Okay, so this is how I teach recursion. So this is a boss, this is our boss, and this robot is its manager. Okay, so boss and manager. The boss gives a clear-cut instruction to its manager: take this array, which is nested, we can see, and give me back a flattened array. Okay, so the instruction of the boss is clear enough. The boss asks the manager robot, which is actually very lazy. This robot is really lazy. Okay, take this nested array and give me back a flattened array. So basically, this robot, the lazy robot manager, it maintains a result and it has a problem that it needs to solve. So it goes to the first item of the array. It moves through the items of the array one by one. Oh, it finds a 1, which is a simple number. Okay, it's not an array or object or something like that. So it happily, puts this 1 inside its result array. So it will put 1 inside its result array. Then it will move to the next item. And this lazy robot, what it notices is the second item is again an array. Okay, so what it will do is, since it's a lazy manager, it's a lazy robot, it will create a function which does it will create a replica of itself. Okay, and it will delegate the rest of the array, this 2, 3, 4, to its subordinate robot, which is a replica of itself. Okay, I'm keeping it really short because you know what where I'm heading, right? So it gives a very clear-cut instruction to this. It's its own replica. It says, take this array 2, 3, 4, flatten it and give it back to me. What I'll do is I'll simply concatenate my result with your result and give it to my boss, and that way he'll be having his flattened array. Okay, got it? So basically it's telling its subordinate that take this array and simply flatten it. How you do it, it's up to you. Once you flatten it, give it back to me, the flattened array back to me. I'll just concatenate it with my result and give it back to my boss. Okay, so this robot, which is a replica of this robot, again starts to iterate through the array. It goes to the first item. It's a number. It's not an array itself. It's very happy. It simply places this number. So this number to its result. Okay. Then it moves ahead to the next item and it gets an array. It's a lazy robot. It did the minimal thing that it needed to do. Okay. But as soon as it encountered an array, what it did was it again created a replica of itself. And it gave the exact same instruction to this robot. Take this array, 3, 4. It does not know what's in this array, right? Take this array, flatten it, and once you flatten it, give it back to me. What I'll do is, I'll concatenate your result with my result and give it back to my manager. So this particular robot, just any arbitrary robot, it has nothing to do with this boss. All it has to do with is its manager. Okay. So what it's saying is to its subordinate that take this array 3, 4, flatten it Once you flatten it, give it back to me. I'll concatenate it with my result. I'll be having a flattened array and I'll just give it back to my manager. As simple as that. Okay. Now this lazy robot, again, because it's a replica of its boss, its manager, it starts iterating through the array. It sees number 3. It happily, puts it in to its result, 3. It sees another number, okay, 4. It happily puts it to the 4 because this is the minimal work, right? You are iterating through an array, and whatever minimal work number you are getting, you are just putting it into the result. You are not doing any hard work, right? And it reaches the end of the array. It does not encounter any array. So what happens is, it simply returns back. Now this is called the base case. You know that, I won't go into that depth. It simply returns this result of 3 and 4 to its manager. So what the manager does is, it concatenates 2 and 3 and 4. And you know what array.concat does? It flattens the array, right? It just gives you a new array with 2, 3, 4. And it happily returns 2, 3, 4 to its manager. So its manager, what it does it, now it has 2 arrays, 1 and then 2, 3, 4. It again concatenates both of them and returns this flattened array back to the boss. And everyone is happy. It was really short, I take around 30 to 45 minutes to explain this, and I tried to explain it in 3 to 4 minutes now. But you see, you can make something as abstract as recursion very, very lively and real life using visual metaphors. And I love this example of, lazy robots who try to do the minimal thing and delegate rest of the work. Try to do the minimal thing, delegate rest of the work. Try to do the minimal thing, delegate rest of the work. Right? So it minimalized its work. It will just take primitives. As soon as it encounters an array, it will give it to its subordinate. Ask for a flattened array. Once it gets a flattened array, it will concatenate it. Okay? So in the next part of our session, we will maybe, recreate these examples, and hopefully I'll give you a couple of exercises to practice. And before that, it will be great if you yourself try to, create these using the knowledge that we gained in today's session. See you in the next session.